Hello and welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Fighting Chat podcast. This time we're going to be discussing UFC Fight Night, Alistair Overeem versus Augusto Sakai, which was on the 5th of September. Commentators for this event is Jon Anik and Daniel Cormier. How you doing, by the way?
Yeah,
I should ask you that a bit earlier, shouldn't I, really? I mean, I give it all a chat and then I don't even, ask how you are. Anyway, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you sound
I'm not
it.
going to ask you straight away. I'm not, you're obviously not that bothered. It's just a customary thing. So yeah, I'm all good.
Okay.
How are you, by the way?
Exactly. You've never asked. So it's crap. And I'm glad you've realised that because you have been crap with that one. Anyway,
Right,
yeah, it's customary. You've asked, so I'll answer anyway, even though it's not real. Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. So commentators, Jon Anik, Daniel Cormier, what are we saying about that combo?
we don't have to commentate on the commentary team every
Yeah,
time.
of course we do.
Well, hang on a sec.
All right.
I'm finished, yeah. Yeah, Anik. Look, again, he's the worst at doing those chats after fights because it's always the same. It's always the same. It's like, how you feeling? You've got to win. Talk us through your handiwork. Who would you like to see next? I mean, look, he's not crap at it. He's obviously good at it, right? He's very professional. But he's just kind of boring. I prefer the other guys because they just seem to have a chat with the people. Whereas, Anik has a chat with them, but he's always got those same three questions. They're so boring now. But Cormier was his usual giggly self, with all the, remember when he was doing his golf swing and all that, talking about,
I don't know why I had to see that vid. That was crap. Obviously, some fights were off, weren't cancelled, so they tried to fill in the time with some crap golf vid.
Well, the thing is, as well, is I'm no golf expert. I can't stand golf. It's, young people who play golf, all I'm going to say to you is, come on. Ain't you got more energy than that?
We know a young'un that plays golf.
Yeah, I do know. Yeah, we do know, and we know he's got no energy.
If he's bunted, he's got no breath.
Right. Let me tell you. I used to live on the back of a golf course. Well, it was a private golf course, right?
Yeah.
But we used to be able to go on it as kids because you're naughty as kids and you just do what you want, right?
No, I don't remember being that. I don't remember being like that at all.
All right. Well, anyway, right, and they did some of the blokes there didn't care because we were kids. We didn't go in there in the middle of a tournament or anything. We used to go on there, late at night when there'd be one or two people on the course.
Well, why was you allowed out late at night?
Hey?
Well, why was you allowed out late at night? How old was you?
It's England, isn't it? So it starts getting sort of, a little bit darkish around, say, 5, 6 o'clock, especially in the winter. Sometimes, and so you go out at that time because no one wants to play golf when it's a little bit chilly.
It's a pretty bad impression saying that if you're a kid, you can just do whatever you want.
I didn't say I'd do whatever I want. I'm just saying that we used to go on the golf course.
You didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. We can listen back to it. You said that when you're kids, you're naughty and you just do stuff. It's like, well, I didn't. No, when you're kids. I didn't go on private golf courses when I weren't allowed. Did it say? Did it have a sign up saying that you weren't allowed private?
Yeah. It says like no trespassing.
And how old was you? You can read, and you still did it. That's what we're saying here.
Yeah. From I don't know, from whatever age, for as young as I can remember. Really, I was out there, doing long jump in the bunkers and all that sort of stuff. We weren't doing any.
Okay, yeah, brilliant. That's great.
But no, by the way, we did used to rake up the bunkers behind us. When I say naughty, we didn't do anything wrong, apart from trespassing, obviously. But we didn't used to actually mess about on the greens because we knew that they were expensive, to maintain. So we only used to mess about on the fairways and the roughs and all that sort of stuff. And like I say, do long jump in the bunkers. But we weren't taking tee off shots and taking big divots out the greens and stuff like that. But anyway,
we didn't have any clubs. Don't act like you were being amazing.
We did have clubs. We had loads of clubs.
Where'd you get the clubs?
Where'd
you get the clubs?
My dad used to have a set of clubs.
Oh, did he say you could borrow
them? Well,
this is bad. This.
We didn't ask. We just took them. But anyway, regardless.
Exactly.
We had a hell of a lot of golf balls because obviously we didn't used to FIFA them. We used to, but find loads when we used to walk through the wood. We used to play war in the woods as well.
Oh, so you didn't use the FIFA? No, you just found them. Was it finders keepers? That's your rules, is it?
Well,
they're not your golf balls, are they?
If someone whacked the golf ball into the woods,
yeah,
right, and we knew that they'd whack it into the woods, then we'd go, it's over here. I mean, this didn't happen very often. I don't even know if it ever happened, but we never thieved balls. We never waited for people to hit it, jogged onto the fairway, stuck it in a bag and legged it. I mean, a golf ball's worth like 20p, who cares? So Anyway, we used to play War in the Woods. We used to find bucket loads of golf balls in there from people
Right.
who had, booked shots and stuff like that. But anyway, I can't remember why we're talking about it. We used to live on the back of a golf course. My dad never once played golf. Now he's a bit older, 60 plus. He plays golf. It's an old man's game.
I didn't know he played
He
golf.
does, yeah. He plays golf. He's actually all right. He looks better than Cormier anyway. I know when I watched
I thought that was bad, Qual. The leg
Hey,
the toe didn't come up enough and didn't twist enough and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I know nothing about golf, but it looked uncomfortable to me. But then he explained, didn't he, that the golf clubs were too short, and they looked too short. Because I was going to say to him, it looked like basically he was playing with a kids' club or something.
Well,
Anyway,
yeah, but he vidded it and put it on telly.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, and that was probably his best shot as well. But
it would have been, yeah.
I like Cormier. He seems like a cheery character. I remember when they
good.
do those UFC. What were they called? Before the events, they have them just embedded.
Oh,
and
right.
and he used to, that. What's the name of the little fella? He used to be his boxing coach and all that. I always forget his name. The little fella, right? He's got that big
Sanchez,
big round punching disc. Is it Sanchez? Anyway, he was always tripping
Rosario
him up.
or something like that.
He was always tripping him up and playing tricks on him.
Yeah,
I was always I like Cormier. He seems like
he's good.
Right, yeah. Although if he kept on tripping, if he tripped me up on the wrong day, I'm naughty. I might have banged him out.
It's understandable, isn't it? Like you say, it's just the wrong day. You get your wrong time. You're not in the mood for it, and maybe you've got a fight coming up, and then he injures you through messing about, tripping you up. What are we saying? That's good, is it? That's good laugh, is it? Ha ha ha! Yeah, great. It ain't. So Cormier's crap.
Yeah. But the commentary was, it was all right. They're okay together, those two. Cormier, at least gives it a little bit of life, doesn't he? And Anik is just, Anik.
It's what you said before when Felder's doing the chats to him afterwards. He asks him a different question based on who he's talking to. He does do some run of the mills, who's next. He can't help that. But he does actually say something about the fight or what he's just seen. And then, like you said, he reacts to what they say. Whereas Anik, it don't matter what they say. He just moves on to the next point, whatever the next question he's got. He's got like 3 questions. He asks it. They could give a whatever answer, and he'll just still go, yeah, no worries, next, and he'll just do the next question. He's crap at it. That's the truth. When he's also got all these really annoying Anik phrases. He can't just say something. Minute 30 left in the round and all that stuff, and I don't know. I can't think of them now because they're so not natural, but I know the things you mean.
He doesn't just sort of say stuff like normally or naturally. It's like he's got these like little phrases that he makes up.
We'll make note of them.
We'll have to start making notes.
We'll make some notes of them, and there might be some we like, right? We'll make some notes of them next time. But I know what you're talking about.
I actually think most of them are right. It's just the fact that they're coming from him. I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah. And his moustache is crap. I'm glad he got rid of that.
He did get rid of it. I liked it. Right. The announcer for this one, and I know you're going to go, why the hell are you saying that? Well, it was Joe Martinez. So the question is he better than Buffer?
Definitely not.
You don't like Buffer that much, though. What's wrong with Martinez? Well, he's worse than Buffer, but Buffer gets blazed all the time. All right.
He's an Anik.
Who, Martinez?
Yeah, he's good, right? He's got a good voice. He never makes mistakes. He's clear, does exactly what he needs to do. Anyone who watches any sort of combat sports, British combat sports, let's say, will realise that these guys, Martinez, Buffer, are amazing compared to the blokes we have over here. It's almost like here, we basically find, I know you're going to say Diamond or whatever from Cage Warrior, UCMMA. But
No, okay. He don't even do it anymore. It's Grant Waterman actually does the lot, doesn't he?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Over here, it's almost like they just basically go into the crowd 10 minutes beforehand and go, anyone here, fancy shouting a bit? Can any of you fellas shout?
But you're not talking about Grant here because he's
in a tuxedo and.
No, he is good at it.
Who, Grant Waterman?
Yeah, he's brilliant, man.
Why isn't he doing refereeing?
What is the other bloke called? He ain't called the Diamond, but that bloke. What is that bloke called on UCMMA? You're not on it anymore. It's Granite that does it.
Anyone who hasn't seen, go on to you. He's actually American, funnily enough.
What that?
There's a British promotion called UC MMA, and they had a ring announcer. Can't remember his name, but he used to wear flashy suits like
That's
Buffer,
right, yeah.
didn't he?
Like
But you
gold
could tell
suits.
they're really budget. And
He's
he
the
basically
worst.
looked like a rabbit in the headlights, didn't he? He just looked like so surprised to be there every time. And then they started getting Alex Reed to do it as well. Do you remember they
Oh,
got
I
Alex
do
Reed?
remember that as well. He
And
did
funny
it
thing is,
drunk. He was definitely drunk those nights, man. Definite.
yeah, that's what I'm
Just to get
saying.
him through it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Martinez is good, but he's kind of just somebody who's got a good voice, who can speak into a microphone and pronounce awkward names quite well. I'm not exactly going mad on it. Buffer, I don't like just because he's too hammy.
He's too powerful for you, isn't he?
Yeah, he's too hammy. It's too much. To me, Bruce Buffer's the best ring announcer. That's
Bruce, you mean Michael? He's bro.
Oh, Bruce Buffer.
Said he's crap, and then he's the best one.
He's brilliant.
He's crap, but he's actually the best one. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I like him. But Jimmy Lennon Jr. He's a boxing guy. He's a little bit like Joe Martinez. He's good, but he's quite sort of, straight lace sort of thing. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, does it? Who gives a monkeys? So I don't care about the fight.
There was someone we used to work with. He did used to give him monkeys whenever Buffer weren't on it. He used to cry.
Yeah, I know.
Shout out to Baines.
Yep.
But yeah, he couldn't handle it. We used to go into work and he'd go, UFC, it weren't the same at the weekend, mate. Buffer weren't on it. Silly.
Yeah,
nothing to do with the fights. Anyway, we've not said anything to do with the fights, so we're just as bad.
All right, let's get on with it then. Let's get on with
Okay,
it.
let me know if there's any others that you're aware of, but there's 2 bouts I've got here that were cancelled due to positive COVID-19 tests. Alexander Romanov versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima, and Thiago Moses versus Jalin Turner. Those 2 weren't on this card. This was actually quite a short card. Weren't as many fights, I'm guessing.
Yeah, 7 fights, wasn't it, in the end? Yeah, 7 fights. It's funny because you sent me the video of Dana White looking all red, like he was, on the verge of spontaneous combustion, and he was, crowing about 2 fights, going, that usual thing he does of, listen, if you guys don't know about these 2 fights, now you know. And the 2 fights he mentioned were the 2 that ended up getting canned, so it was quite funny. Dana went all red and gave himself high blood pressure for nothing in the end. But
they weren't even worth it.
Yeah, because both of them got pulled. But
still, it's going to happen, isn't it?
It is in the current climate. The thing is, I mean, it weren't. Let's be honest. Even with those 2 fights, it wasn't the most mouth-watering card. But as we said before, you never know how good a card's going to be until it's finished, right? There's been some cards where you look at it. It's incredible. I think it was UFC 200, was it? Or was it the one with the yellow canvas? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But on paper, it was incredible, right?
Mm.
And then I remember there was one event in particular. I think it was an event in Brazil. And I looked at it and I just went, this is just the worst card I've ever seen. I mean, I think I only recognised like one person on the whole card. It ended up being amazing. I mean, people getting banged out left, right, and centre, and submitted, and
that's nice,
all that stuff.
You like watching people.
Well, good for my entertainment. Maybe not good for their brain cell count, but they agreed it. So you can't judge a card until it's done and dusted. But this one wasn't one. I was contemplating staying up all through the night for. Let's put it like that.
All right, well, we'll find out what you thought of it in general once we've gone through it. This time you want to start with the main event, correct?
Nope. Do you mind if I was going to say to you this time, I thought we might just chat about, so there's 2 fights in particular I think I want to chat about, and that's
I'm chatting about them all. I'll have to mention them all.
Yeah, no, I want to chat about them all, but what I'm saying is I want to chat the 2 fights I'm sort of...
What, you just want to dig 2 out? Of the list? Oh, I can't wait till you get to them.
I want to spend a bit of time on.
You can spend time on them when you get to them, though.
All right, do it that way then.
No, but you said to me that you want to try it with the main event first. Do you not want to do that? Why have you changed your mind? You said...
No, we'll go from the bottom to the top like you always do. Do that.
What happened to... Well, all right, I don't... Listen, I don't know.
You've upset me now. Forget it.
No, wait. What happened to the main event first? You told me the other day you want to do main event first. You want to try that? I don't mind. You want to do that or start from the weed ones?
Let's start from the bottom because I really feel like we're going to race through the first four anyway.
All right, no worries. Okay then. Right, the first fight then is Cole Smith, 7-1, versus Hunter Azure. He's 8-1. This is bantamweight fight. The nickname, Cole Smith, the Coal Train.
Yeah, I appreciate the effort. I mean, he's realised he's got coal in his name and he's tried to do something with it. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the Hunter didn't have one, so
With a first name like Hunter, he really should have.
Is a good name, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know any good hunters apart from the bloke in the Gladiators? He weren't really that good anyway, was he?
No, he was wicked. He was
He had the crinkly blonde hair. Was he that one?
Yeah. He was probably the best gladiator. Shadow was
the Wolf Man.
Oh yeah, obviously the Wolf's the best.
Right.
That's saying. But Shadow was good. But Shadow was kind of a little bit. He was only good on the. He was good at a lot of events, but Hunter was a good all rounder. Anyway, I don't want to talk about Hunter. Not Hunter Azure. I don't want to talk about Hunter from the Gladiators. Save that for another time. So go on in.
Azure won this one by unanimous decision. Look, round one was all right, but the rest of it was boring as anything. It wasn't an enjoyable fight at all. I ain't got nothing to say on it, so over to you if you want to say anything. But I do think that Azure bloke did look all right. He wasn't a bad fighter, and he was okay, but there weren't much to see. He did one combo in it that I really liked, and the rest of it, not much to say really.
What was the combo done that you liked? So I must have missed
like
it.
A leg kick, hook and a straight, I think, and I liked it. It was good, and it worked as well. But nothing else. The rest of it was grappling and up against the cage, and just not very exciting grappling and up against the cage stuff. So not very good fight.
Yes. I don't want to sound like most people who is negative about sort of grapple heavy fights, because if you get the right grappling fight, it's amazing, right? If you get a scramble heavy, submission heavy, sort of fight, it can be really just as exciting as a Chan Sung Young, scrap or whatever. But this weren't one of them, and. Other than saying that Hunter Azure looks like Colby Covington's younger brother, I ain't got anything to say about this. Other than Hunter moves on. What about Cole Smith? You think he's sort of UFC caliber?
Nah, man, he can get the train home. Right.
Next one.
Next one.
That's a bit nasty.
No,
but
it wasn't. The next fight, it wasn't nasty. Is Viviane Araujo. So her nickname is Vivi. That's her fighter name. Viviane Araujo, 8-2 from Brazil, versus Montana Makeup Face De La Rosa. Oh no, sorry, that's not her nickname. Montana De La Rosa.
Has she got a nickname?
No. It's just I just went with what I saw. Makeup Face. Remember from the Ultimate Fighter? She was called Montana Stewart. Remember on there?
I don't actually. Yeah.
She married Mark De La Rosa, and why do the women take the man's name? Who comes up with these things? Is that a Bible thing?
Well, I'm going to look it up now. So keep talking.
Because I do think it's a kind of strange. What about if they? I mean, I suppose these days you've got the choice of going, no, I'm not doing it. I'm going to stick my own name. Some people would do things like Montana De La Rosa Stewart, wouldn't they? They'd keep it all. But I just wonder why they've got to agree.
It says here, I don't know if this is
for the sake of the kids, I guess you've got to agree one. For the sake of the kid, if you have kids, of course. If you ain't got a kid and you get married, well, got to have your name for. Why can't you have mine? A woman, I know men are better. I get that, but what's the real reason? What's the reason?
Well, it says here, back in the day, a woman can open a line of credit, raise a kid. This sounds like it's written by, this don't sound official the way it's written, or do any number of things without a husband. This sounds a little bit more feasible. Symbolically, taking the name was a sign that the woman was being given to a man from her father, like a piece of property. That's why the father customarily walks his daughter down the aisle to hand over his daughter. I imagine it's come from some sort of patriarchal background, right, from back in the day.
I should think so.
Yeah, it's not
weird.
It is, but it's not viewed like that now, is it? I mean, maybe back in the day, like I say, it had some sort of negative aspect to it of, you know, a woman basically being given to someone else or what have you, or marrying into a family or what have you. But that's not the way it's viewed now, is it? It's just become a tradition thing. It is what it is. So, you know,
Yeah.
but if I, you know, if so, let's put it like this, right? If you were getting married,
Right.
let's say you had a
What about if you're
really
getting married to a man? What about if it's gay marriage? Whose name you're taking? You're both men.
right. That's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I didn't realize I was going to get grilled on marriage
No,
names,
I didn't
but
realise either, but
I've got a question for you.
these things happen.
Say you had a really, really crap surname, right?
Right.
Like a really bad one. I mean, you have got a really bad one, but let's just say your surname was something like Cock, right?
Something like what?
Cock.
Right.
Because that can be a surname, right?
I've never known it to be, but let's
All
just
right. Well,
say it is.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, okay. Let's say you got an. I mean, I can't think of a surname that's.
Uh,
Look, let's just say your surname's Cock, right? But your missus has like just an ordinary surname. Would you say let's take your surname rather than mine?
I think so. Yeah. If
Wanna
it
get rid of
bothered
it?
me and I didn't, if I've grown up with it in school and I've gone through all the hardship and got blazed and all that, I could probably handle it and I might stick with it. Depends how I feel about it. I might go, this has caused me hardship, you know, all my life. I'm sick of it. This is a chance to get rid of it. Or I might go, no, it's brilliant. It's funny. You know, it causes a bit of a stir every time it's used. I don't know. Depends how I feel about it. Depends how much grief I got growing up with it, which I can imagine be quite a bit. I mean,
Well, it's
I
just
don't
like
know
you
if
had.
you're allowed, are you?
Yeah, I say Cock, and you had a, you know, Co, didn't you? Koch used to be
That's right,
UFC player.
Eric,
Yeah, Eric
that red
Co.
bloke.
Yeah, Eric Co. Come on, let's get real. His name wasn't Co. That wasn't spelled COE or KOE or KO. It was spelled KOCH.
Yeah, I know. You know,
That's
say it how you see it, and you get what
yeah,
you get. And that's all there is to it.
yeah. So
Sorry.
he's obviously changed that because he knows, you know, he knows it ain't a good one. So
So Viviane Araujo versus Montana De La Rosa. From what I could see in Fast Forward, De La Rosa got some new blood makeup, so I'm sure she was happy. Then I thought I was saved by the recording cutting off, but it continued onto the main card, so I still had to watch the rest of the fight. And then it was Araujo by unanimous decision, so it's another really exciting women's decision fight.
I'm gonna just say
That's why I thought of it. Well, I don't know. I didn't say what I thought of it, but I think you can guess. And in the corner, in Makeup's corner, they did the version of "You've got to get out there and do it for your kid." They said the kid's name. I don't know if I like those ones, the kid ones, bringing up the kid. I don't think I like it. I don't think I'd like it if I was a fighter. Do it for your kid. I just think, look, listen, I want to win this anyway, right? I've got money, reputation, all sorts on the line. I don't think it would make any difference to me. If anything, it'd give me the ump. You know, shut up, telling me to think about my kid now. Silly.
yeah. Look, I think it's because
I don't know if it works. It works. They know the fighter, right? But I'm saying I wouldn't like it. Said to me.
I think it's obviously used as a motivational thing, isn't it? But I think it would annoy me personally because, like, what do you think I've done the training camp for, and I've got a big face covered in cuts, bruises, and blood for at the moment.
Yeah.
Not doing, you know,
And not
just
seeing my kid and whatever. Yeah.
but obviously it's just used as a cheap motivational tactic, and I don't particularly like it either. It's funny you should bring it up because when I watched it at the time, I watched those corner chats. I went, was it Elliot Marshall? Did they say?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the Fire Marshal. He had a good nickname. That's a good nickname, Elliot the Fire Marshal.
It is good because you know going into the fire, bringing the fire, the heat, and all that. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's a really good. Because another one I used to like was Kevin the Fire Burns.
Yeah, look, that's really run of the mill. You know, wasn't very inventive, but it works. It's just not fair. It works because of his name.
Yeah, but it's better than the Coltrane.
Well,
it's a good one. It's a good one. The Fire Burns. Anyway,
I think I quite like the Coltrane.
Oh, you just said a minute ago it was crap, right?
I don't know. I think I do quite like it. Now, he ain't how his name's spelt, but you put coal in the train and he's coming to do you, coming to flatten you. He didn't, but this is what he's coming to do. He run out of coal.
He did,
run out of steam, innit? That's it.
He did, yeah. All I'm going to say about that fight, wasn't a great fight. But in my opinion, I bet there's loads of people going, no, I really liked it. People like those sorts of fights where somebody ends up with a battered face and
a
lot of shots. Some people do like that sort of stuff. But all I'm going to say is I do think that that Araujo, I do think that she could beat most of the women in that division above her. I think she could beat, from what I saw, she's lost to Jessica Ai, which is a little bit of a worry, but I was a couple of fights back. I think she could beat Roxanne Modafferi, no problem.
Who couldn't?
Cyphers. Cyphers couldn't, I think she could beat Joanne Calderwood. I think she could probably beat,
she weren't bad, I have to say. Again, strong looking.
Yeah.
Looked fighting sort of body and that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Most of those girls who are above her, Lauren Murphy, Chukagian and all that, I think she could beat most of those if I'm right now, I think. So, I think she's, good for her. Next fight.
Brian Boom Kelleher, 22-11 versus Ray, the judge, Rodriguez. Now,
he got judged.
I was saying to myself, I've gone first on both these fights. We can go first again, right? I've got a few things I want to say about this. Do you remember we used to talk about crap fighter attributes back in the day, like Forrest Griffin? One of the attributes used to actually come up written on the screen, heart and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Can't remember of any. There was a few, weren't there, that were quite bad as an actual attribute, rather than go, Muay Thai, Muay Thai champion. It'd say heart. And he's got a new one for Kelleher. He said he's a promoter's dream, as he's always ready to fight. I reckon that's going to be written up on the screen next time. What do you think about that? It's true, but it's a pretty... He couldn't think of much else to say that was positive about him. I'd tell you something positive about him. He's a crash with a good beard. That's agreed. Anyway, the fight starts, and Anik says that Rodriguez is called the judge because more often than not, he leaves the judges out of it. So he lived up to his name this time because 26 seconds later, he tapped to a guillotine choke in round 1. So that was a bad one. I'm not sure Rodriguez loves, but I bet it's not that. What do you think I mean by that?
Say that again.
I said I'm not sure what Rodriguez loves, but I bet it's not that, getting beaten up or getting done with a guillotine choke.
Go on.
A tattoo on his chest, didn't he, saying love it?
Oh, God.
Kelleher, guillotine choke, round 1. What are you saying?
Right, well, Kelleher does seem to... He's one of those guys that, if you like, he is a good guy to have on your roster, right?
Yeah, I think he's all right.
I don't think he's going to sort of break the top sort of 10, or not consistently anyway. He might be able to put together a little run here and there, but yeah, he shows up. He's tough. Gives it a good go. He
has smashed, doesn't he?
Yeah, gives it a go. He has got some attributes to sort of be concerned about. He can obviously bang reasonably hard, and he's got some good submissions and stuff. So
it was good, that guillotine, wasn't it? Like he really cranked it on. I know it was good. I thought he was good.
Yeah, he's not bad. He beat that Hunter Azure, didn't he, a couple of fights back?
Oh, did he got done by Stayman though, didn't he?
That's it. Yeah, we like Stayman there, didn't we? Didn't like his last fight too much, Cody Stayman. But yeah, on the whole, he's good, and he's Stayman. He's good, strong guy. But yeah, I think he's all right, Kelleher. He's a decent fella to have on your roster, isn't he? And of course, he done the GOAT, Henan Barao. Do you remember that? Do you remember that time where everyone was going on about how good Henan Barao was? And do you remember I used to say to you all the time, I don't understand why everyone thinks this guy's so amazing.
Well, he was finishing his own fights by doing the look-up move to the ref, wasn't he?
That's right, yeah, and he had that horrible dance. Do you remember that dance?
I do remember that dance, yeah. Crap. Anyway, is he out of it now, is he?
Do you remember he went on that terrible run, didn't he? Yeah, he lost. He lost, I'm just looking up now, he lost 7 of 8. 8 of 10.
Unbelievable.
After he lost to Dillashaw, which, remember, before that, I think he'd only lost one in about 30 or something stupid. Before that, yeah, he'd only lost about 130, and then after that, he'd basically lost 8 of 10. The only wins he got was against Felipe Nova and Mitch Gagnon, but he lost to Dillashaw twice, Jeremy Stevens. I mean, he's fought some pretty hard guys, right? Dillashaw twice.
Well, right, you say he was champ.
You know, the steroid version, probably. Jeremy Stevens, Aljamain Sterling, Brian Kelleher, Andre Yule, Luke Sanders. So they kind of did taper down the quality of opponent, so to speak. But
Yeah.
he done a bit for Rashard Evans, didn't he? Just couldn't buy a win.
Yeah,
So,
true.
yeah.
Falling out of baths and everything.
Falling out of what?
Falling out of the bath and all that, wasn't it? Weight cuts and all that. All that was going on. Look,
when you get beaten up by the bath, you know it's time to fear throwing the towel.
Yeah, exactly. Got done by the bath. So we've agreed it. Kelleher's good. We didn't get to see the judge, Ray Rodriguez, not being nasty, but we didn't get to see him do out. So don't want to be horrible to him.
We didn't see enough of him to judge.
Like it. Good one.
Yep.
Better than what Anik said about him. Jeez, that backfired. Next fight then. Andre Muniz from Brazil, 19-4 versus Volkan Ozdemir. No, sorry. Bartosz. Not Ozdemir.
Yeah. Ozdemir, yeah.
Again, like with makeup face, I'm going with what I saw. Bartosz the Butcher Fabinski from Poland, 15-3. Tis a good nickname, isn't it, that?
The Butcher. That, you know, I mean, just very quickly, I mean, just off the top of my head, we spoke about it before. The Axe Murderer might be the best nickname ever.
I've got another one that we both really like. It's just slipped your mind. It's just slipped your mind. When I say it, you're gonna know. The Crippler.
Brilliant one.
He's
brilliant
mint, isn't it?
Yeah.
Chris Liebens, the Crippler.
Yeah.
That's an amazing name, that.
In the comments section, leave your own favourite fighting nickname.
Yes, please.
The Butcher is very good, but it's a bit more random. I like Crippler because it's a bit more risque and a bit, you know, I don't think I've ever heard anyone else called it before or since. That's brilliant. And the Axe Murderer, there can only ever be one Axe Murderer.
It's amazing, isn't it?
No one else can have that name. It just won't work. If you nick that name, it's a little bit like when Sugar, you know, the Sugar one, Sugar Ray Leonard, you know, he took Sugar, which obviously was from Sugar Ray Robinson. So you've got big boots to fill.
Why did Ray Robinson, why was he called Sugar? Do you know? Why was it originally used?
No, I'm not sure.
No, me neither. I mean, I don't know. I understand the significance if they've taken it off of a fighter they like. I understand that, but I'm just wondering what does.
Well, he may have taken. Look, there may have been a Sugar before him, right? Or like I say, it might have been just because he was an expert in the sweet science, or you know,
maybe sweet,
But yeah.
Well, what did you think of that fight then? 185 middleweight fight. What are you saying? The favourite was Fabinski. What you got to say about that fight? I'll give you a good one to chat about.
When that fight came up, I kind of winced a bit because I remember all Bartosz Fabinski's other fights and I hated them. I hated each and every one of them.
So you weren't looking forward to it?
Nah. He's a grinding, stick to you like glue kind of guy. Here we go. Look, he's 4 wins in the UFC, all by unanimous decision. By the way, there's nothing wrong with winning decisions, right? There was, there's been loads of amazing fighters who,
GSP.
GSP used to go on loads. Do you remember before Jorge Masvidal went to the rainforest? He used to be in loads of decisions, right? But I used to love Masvidal. But this guy ain't one of them. He just sucked the oxygen out of the room. When I used to watch his fights, I used to be like, oh, no. So, when this came up and then when he got the guy on the floor, I thought, oh, God, here we go. This is what it's going to be like for 15 minutes. And the other bloke fixed it for me. So, again, didn't see much of him. So, I can't really judge on how good he is, all round. But I am grateful to him for getting rid of that fight quickly.
Brilliant. Well, I honestly, he had a brilliant bod. I know I have to mention bods, but I do. I think that Muniz bloke had a really good bod. And he did... Look, you're telling me that bloke's a decision guy. Like you say, he sorted it out. He got rid of that. The grief, you said, it doesn't mean he's crap. He gave grief. You're saying that the Bartosz bloke gives grief, and he banned him. You also said, I think on the last show, you hear that? On the last show, you said that no one gets done by armbar anymore. And
That's
and the
right.
next event,
That's right.
someone gets armbarred. I can believe
No,
it.
I said that the men's game is, you can, one of the ways it's far ahead of the women's game is because women get armbarred, it seems, every event, and yet men never get armbarred because it's just such a well-known technique now that everyone's just drilled it so much that no one gets done by it. And then literally the next event, Bartosz Fabinski gets armbarred. But, it happens. Obviously, look, Henderson got armbarred, didn't he, by Pettis? It does happen, but it's just a lot rarer. But, thanks for Muniz for getting rid of that fight, because I could see the way that was going. So, props to him for that. I'm just going to just quickly say, Ray Robinson picked up the nickname after a journalist told his manager that his fighter looked sweet, and his manager replied, "Sweet as sugar." And from then on, he was known as Sugar Ray Robinson.
There you go. So we were right in guessing that it might have something to do with being sweet or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Knowledge for all.
Yep.
Bartosz, just before we move on to the next one.
Get over him, will ya?
No. Do you not think, right, considering he's a crash, that he should grow a beard, because he was raw as out, wasn't he? I mean, he really looked raw. The only bit of hair I could see was, the little tuft you get on your back above the shorts. He had a bit of that, I think. And that was it. And that stood out because everything else was raw and pink. Maybe he should do the beard, considering that all crashes can grow beards. What do you think? Do you not notice he was particularly raw?
Yeah, I thought he looked all right, to be honest. Honestly, I thought he looked all right. I know what you're saying, that look, we discussed being bald and what your options are quite a lot, because I'm bald.
You ain't. You've got grit.
And I can't grow a beard, so I'm raw and pink. And when I do shave my head, you have a go at me, right? You say I look crap because I look all raw.
Yeah, he needs a bit more grit, a bit something going on.
But I don't know. He can. I don't know. He looked all right. Looked like Özdemir. Özdemir grew his hair out, didn't he? Did you look at Tyone's head as well? It's tattooed.
I didn't notice. He was in it a couple of times. I think I didn't notice. No. What does it say?
It says, "Love me," or what did that guy's tattoo say on his
Love
chest?
it.
Love it. Yeah, there you go. Said love it.
Love it.
No,
yeah.
it's just one of those microscalp pigmentation things, isn't it? I think. Not that it matters. Here he had. Well, we'll discuss that next fight, because I think Tyone was refereeing the Pereira Imadaev fight, wasn't he?
Yeah, ain't the next fight though. Oh yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, well, he's my favourite.
Michel Pereira.
Yeah, 23-11, 2-0 contest versus Zelim Imadaev from Russia, 8-2. It's a welterweight fight. You're right. It was Chris Tognoni.
Yep.
Favourite was Pereira. And obviously I liked this fight. This was good. Don't you think? Did you like this?
Yeah. No, I did.
For me, it was a real example of run-of-the-mill conventional, so Imadaev, versus non-run-of-the-mill, which is Pereira. He threw some good right hands, spinning back kick, kicks off the cage, jumping knees, front kicks, rolling thunders, and then open hand strikes. He did so many different things, but he managed to keep it composed. Whereas I can't remember the name of the other guy. Remember, he came in and fought another guy, and the guy just let him jump around and do loads of flips until he ran out of breath, and then he beat Pereira. I can't remember the name of the guy, unfortunately. But he kept it exciting, but kept his composure. He did things that made it interesting, but didn't mess up, if you know what I mean. Didn't do Johnny Walker's and absolutely mess up, and didn't mess up like he did in his last fight. He moved away.
His last fight was what? That wasn't a DQ, was it? He won his last fight, but he got disqualified against Diego Sanchez, didn't he, for kneeing him in the face when he was basically already eliminated.
Yeah.
That was the last fight, wasn't it? It basically knocked Sanchez out, hadn't he? And then he kind of kneed him again or something. Was that right?
I think so. Yeah. This was good though because it was a good performance by him. I thought really good. Like I said, I like him because he's interesting, and it does make a difference to me. I do want a bit of entertainment. Otherwise, you're going to get the Bartosz fights. He moved away from the cage when he needed to. He didn't do a JDS and stay stuck on it. So when he got back to the cage, he moved away to keep Imadaev off of him. And then every time when there was in normal range, he just kept pushing him away and digging him in the guts with front kicks. So I thought he was good, and he left himself enough energy at the end. He knew it was towards the end, so he done that suplex, jumped on his back, and then gave him a rear naked choke towards the end of round 3.
That's why I brought up Tyone. So the first thing I want to say is I actually thought that Imadaev looked all right as well, though, by the way.
I think he was all right. He just didn't... He didn't have the answer on that night, did he, really?
No, I think he was bamboozled by, sort of all the different sort of looks and unconventional attacks that were coming his way. The reason I stuttered on when you asked me whether I liked it or not, I'll get onto that in a minute. First things first, I rewatched the end sequence. I've got no problem with the stoppage, right? It didn't really matter. It was at the end of the fight.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter. It turns out that it doesn't. It matters to Imadaev. Of course it does.
But there was no tap there.
I didn't see no tap, but it don't matter because that fight was going the way that fight was going. There weren't much time left. I can't remember how much was left, but not much. Under a minute, I believe.
20 seconds to go.
Well, there you go. So it don't matter, but yeah, I never saw no tap.
Yeah, but the weird thing is they watched the replay a few times, and Cormier kind of said, I can't see a tap there. Look, this really is a moot point. It don't matter. Even if Imadaev fought off the submission, there was no way he was going to get back to his feet and knock Pereira out in 20 seconds. So it would have been a clear decision or submission. Doesn't, the only thing that sort of loses out is Imadaev's pride a little bit.
And he's always going to be able to say, well, I would have got up and banged him out.
Well, yeah, he can always claim that, yeah. But they watched that replay a few times. And on the last one, and it goes, oh, yeah, there was maybe a little tap. Maybe I saw a tap there.
Yeah, right at the start, he said, didn't he? Right at the start, maybe there was a tap there right at the start. Yeah, so
there wasn't. Sometimes it can look like somebody is perhaps tapping a little bit, but that's because you've got somebody jumping on your back, so your arms are sort of, you say you're
flailing around a bit, yeah.
Yeah, the momentum knocks your arm off, and then you go and, grab it again, this and that. A tap is, you can clearly tell when someone's tapping, right? It's a clear motion. Generally, it's quite a panicked motion because they're about to go out or they're in a lot of pain. So it's a real, sort of da-da-da-da-da. It's a real frantic sort of motion.
Of course, yeah.
But that guy made no frantic motion. It wasn't a tap. Irrelevant in the end, but, obviously Tony's been made brilliant decisions lately. That one ultimately don't matter. But let's just say that happened in round 1. There could have been a bit of a hoo-ha over it because there definitely was no tap there. But, we're just nitpicking. So it ultimately didn't matter. But
you've got to notice what you notice, And there was I didn't see no tap. That's it.
No, there was no tap. Now, do you mind if I go on to the bit about why I stuttered?
No, of course not.
So, all right, what do you think about let's just call it showboating tactics of Pereira? We've obviously had it with Johnny Walker, and I don't think it's to the same degree. Johnny Walker was being a clown, and I remember this distinctly. Unfortunately, we didn't have it on camera live at the time, but we were watching that Johnny Walker fight against Corey Anderson, I think it was, and we said, the way he's behaving at the start of this fight, he's going to get knocked out.
Yeah,
About 30 seconds later, he got knocked out. Now, I don't think Pereira is being that reckless and that ridiculous. So I want to be clear on that. I'm talking about how does it sit with you? So say, for example, when I was watching it, when I watch it, as you know, there's some people who are showmen and they showboat a bit. My favorite fighter ever is Sugar Ray Leonard, or my favorite boxer, should I say, is Sugar Ray Leonard. He used to do stuff. He used to do bolo punches, and against Roberto Duran in the second fight, he was really clowning about. He's doing a bit of a Johnny Walker, but that was to frustrate Duran. So I don't mind that stuff. But I feel that sometimes there's a difference between somebody who's doing it for showmanship, like I think Anderson Silva used to do, and somebody who's doing it because they're being, for want of a better term, a bit of a bully. How do you feel about Michel Pereira? Do you think he was doing it tactically and to be a showman, or do you think he was doing it because he thought, I've got this guy, all ends up, I can take the mickey out of him?
Well, I think that because he had him, like you say, on the ropes or whatever, so to speak, had his number, then he did become more confident and the showboating got more extreme. So I do think that that is the reason, that he felt, I can do this, bloke, and I can showboat and not be made to look a fool by getting smashed out. But it don't matter to me. I like it regardless. I enjoy it. And if you saw, because you might not have noticed, but if you saw at the weigh-in stare down, they had a little bit of a set to, didn't they? They got a little bit close, and Pereira sort of did one of those. They do that sort of, they put their head towards, not touch, but sort of do that motion as if to say, "I'm gonna do you," or whatever. Yeah. He did that, and the Imadaev pushed his face with his hand. And Dana said, "Look, that was my bad. That I got a little bit. They got too close, and I shouldn't have let that happen." Right. So they had that, if you like. I don't know about any other beef, but I know that there was that. So you'll see at the end of, I believe it was the end of round 1, Pereira did that version of standing and staring him down before they went back to the corners. So that was obviously still there. And you'll see that Imadaev tried again to touch him.
That's right at the end, yeah.
Right, so the same sort of thing. So I think all of that fuels Pereira's attitude in that fight. And maybe if he respected the opponent a bit more, maybe he wouldn't have clowned around as much. Maybe it's his style, because Anderson Silva did it regardless who the opponent was, whether he respected him or not. That was just his style. And let's face it, Anderson Silva's was to goad people in and counter-strike them and stuff. It was a technique. This I liked. I told you, I like it being interesting. I enjoyed it. I think he's brilliant. It wasn't now. I preferred him way more in this because it wasn't just the moves that some were flamboyant. It was the attitude as well. And I like that. That's why I like Nate Diaz as well. I like all that stuff. But it's good. So I like it. I don't care about bullying because it's a smash up. They're having a fight. It's been agreed. I don't see it as disrespectful. I see it as a spectacle, something to watch. And I'm not saying I want it in every fight. I love respectful stuff as well, GSP. And I like the way people go down and see how people are at the end of fights and don't go shouting and screaming when they win like Cerrone. And I like all of that as well, the respect stuff as well. But I'm just as happy in a fight. I even like that fight where it was Verdum and who's that big massive bloke who does the Ingers boxing fists, married to Rousey, Travis Brown. All right, that fight, I liked that because that was respectful during the fight, but that had a load of chat and messing about in it. So I like it as long as at the end there's a bit of respect, which we didn't get to see because I don't remember seeing him get up and shaking hands or anything like that. But no, I loved it.
When the decision was read out as well, I noticed, sometimes I know a lot of the time they've already sort of like said their congratulations or shaken hands and stuff like that beforehand. But I did notice that once the decision was read out, he just done a scream into the camera with these double flags and, didn't even look in the other guy's direction to see, like, do you want to shake hands or say, see you later? I was only raising it as a point. I certainly, when if Pereira's on the card, I definitely want to watch it. Definitely think he's interesting. He's exciting. He's not got one of these conventional sort of, he's almost like a guy to me, and maybe this is what he is, a guy who knew loads of martial arts and he has put that into having a fight in a cage rather than somebody who's gone down a mixed martial arts gym and somebody said, well, here's how you do a little bit of boxing, here's how you throw a few kicks, and here's how you do a bit of grappling. He seems a guy who's got these skills and he's now using them in his own way, so to speak. And
that's why it's interesting.
I just find that, and I didn't really have a problem with him. In fact, I was actually laughing when he was doing stuff like looking at the palm of his hand and then slapping the guy and stuff like that. I liked it. I'm just saying that sometimes that thing can cross over and become quite distasteful. So say, for example, I never liked, and I know you did like him, but I never liked the lengths to which Nassim Hamed went to in a lot of these fights, because he was doing it to guys who is clearly a lot better than, and it just seemed a little bit. I mean, to be fair, he did try all that stuff against Pereira when he got beat and he got made to look like a mug. Yeah. So just his fighting style. And as you said, it's kind of a little bit to goad people in, which is what Anderson Silva done, right? So, you know, it's just some fighters that it just comes across a little bit as arrogant, more arrogance and bullying.
Yeah. Okay. There's a difference though, right?
That's the problem sometimes. But I think Pereira was fine. I was just seeing what your opinion was.
No, I did like Naseem Hamed. You're right. I don't think I've ever really said I liked his goading around, but I did find him entertaining in those fights, and it partly was because of that. The difference with the disrespect thing, or why it can be seen as disrespectful during the fight, is because of what he was saying before and after the fight, Naseem Hamed. So he weren't nice to the blokes, really, or anything like that. So I understand what you're saying. He definitely did it very, very arrogantly during the fights. Really, really arrogant. You don't like it. Remember Matt Hughes on the Ultimate Fighter? He had a go at Rashad for doing it, didn't he? He wasn't even on his team, but
that's right. Yeah.
Oh, he was on the team. He was on the team, but he said there's no place for that on our team. Showboating. I don't like it.
Yeah, I remember because he said it to Rashad after his fight, didn't he? He went in and changed. Rashad was obviously all smiles.
Yeah, all excited.
In 10 years' time, he was never going to win a fight again, but he was all smiles. And then Matt Hughes came in and spoke to him like that, and it really, pulled the plug on his.
It would do, wouldn't it? That's my coach. I thought he was going to be excited because I won, and he's like, "Nah,
good job," and instead he comes in and says, "We don't do that here," and smashed him. So,
and I rate Matt Hughes for making that clear. That is one of my pupils, or understudies, whatever you want to call them.
Okay, but
it's not my thing. I don't do it. But he's
fair enough. Listen, I'm one of your pupils in this show for saying.
I know that's the difference. Yeah.
I've been learning to fight, and I'm a pupil of someone else for years. So
correct.
Don't come tell me how to behave in the cage.
Yeah, there is that.
Because this is what comes natural to me, and this is how I perform best. But
is it? He was doing holding his sack and all that, and getting punched in the face by Machida. Is it when it makes him perform his best doing that?
Yes, no.
Brilliant that was. See, I like that. He's like, this ain't doing nothing. Bang.
That's the thing. It is funny how some people it just seems to come across better than with other people. Pereira, I like it at the moment, but there may come a time where I feel like he oversteps the mark with it.
He may not always do it. It might have been this bloke that brought it out.
Well, that's the other thing. See, this was one of the fights I wanted to start with because this was obviously definitely one of the most interesting and best fights on the card. So I just want to run through the top 10 at welterweight. I can't believe he's welterweight, by the way. He looks absolutely enormous.
Good, isn't he? Yeah, really big, really muscular.
Middleweight at least.
Big everything, big legs. It's not like he's got pins for legs or anything like that. Everything's massive.
Okay, I'm going to read out. I'm just going to go from 15 to say 5 because we don't need to do the top 4 or top 5 because he's definitely nowhere near that yet. So this welterweight, just say.
Well, you remember who he called out?
Masvidal, yeah.
Right.
So let's just say I just want you to say win or loss against each of these people. Okay. Try not to take too long on it. Robbie Lawler.
The current version, no, do Robbie.
Pettis.
You do Pettis.
Nate Diaz.
Pettis is too small as well. Nate Diaz. That's a good one. That I could see Nate Diaz doing the loads of multiple boxing strikes and breathing him out. I think Diaz would win that one.
I think cardio is always going to be a question mark with this fella, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
Jeff Neal. We like Neal, don't we, a lot?
Neal, yeah, he's quite good. I think Jeff Neal would probably do him.
Yeah, same here. Neil Magny.
No. Pereira's Blaze Magny.
You don't think he'll get his long arms on him into the mat and suck his energy out?
Magny's
good that I said his energy out because it could have leave it up to your imagination. Vicente Luque. Now he's brilliant. He's one of the best.
Luque, I think, would win because he's
compact.
The conventional will work in his favour.
Yep, compact, tight, and technical. Yeah,
and loads of breath and loads of grit and no backing down. Yeah, he'll win, I think.
Dos Anjos?
He's gone down to lightweight. Do I?
All right, yeah, he's still in the welterweight rankings. Let's count him because he's.
All right, yeah.
Chiesa?
I can't see Chiesa submitting him because he just looks too big and thick. I know it's a stupid thing to say, but I think Chiesa's style, he's got a wearing style though, and he's dragging her to the floor and over you like a slug. That's what he's got. Oh, I don't know, man. Maybe Pereira would bang him out. Depends if he can stay on his feet. I don't know. We ain't seen enough. Ain't seen the takedown defense and all that, have we? But no, I'm going to go Pereira to do him. Oh,
Okay, next one he's definitely doing. I don't even need to ask your opinion. Damian Maia. He's definitely doing Maia. I'm not even asking you that. The next one is this could either be the best fight of all time or the worst fight of all time. Actually, I do want to ask you about one other fella after. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Oh, well, it's hard, isn't it? Because wonders don't do out anymore. It'd be too. I think Wonderboy would win a decision probably by staying away from him and keeping it at range with kicks and decent jabs and stuff. I think Wonderboy will win that.
Last one, because I know this is your favourite fighter, Tyron Woodley.
Oh, you see, this is the crap thing, right? I want to just go straight away for Pereira will do him, but Woodley, I was going to say he knows how to win fights, but he don't. It just depends really on the person. I don't think Pereira would be scared of him, so I think he'd smash Wooders' face in. I think he'd beat him up.
Yep, well, he's an exciting guy either way, ain't he? But he hasn't really fought any sort of even top level sort of guy yet. I do think Imadaev, looks like a decent enough addition to the ranks, but yeah, he hasn't fought a decent enough guy yet. So it's all well and good, looking at your palm and then slapping somebody. But let's see if you can do that against, say, somebody a little bit higher ranked. Somebody top 15.
Well, remember we got done by that other fella. I'm sorry, I can't remember the guy who just dodged all these flips and stuff.
I've said it 3 times. I'm going to say it 4th time, then I'm never saying it again. Connolly.
What's his other name?
That's the guy's name, Tristan Connolly.
Yeah, well, him. I don't know what's happened to him, but he's shown the blueprint, and he weren't clowning around in that fight because he couldn't touch the bloke, So, well, he did for a bit, but yeah. I like him. He's interesting. I hope he doesn't go like Johnny Walker, because Johnny Walker's changed into a bloke who looks like he's never thrown a punch or kick ever. I don't know what has happened to that guy. It's so quick. Real quick downturn that.
It's gone SBG now. So don't worry about it.
What's he done?
Training with Kavanagh, isn't he?
Ooh, I mean, Kavanagh's amazing, but who's there? That big fella, Charlie. In Bellator, that pub bloke.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, can't remember.
Charlie Ward.
That's it. Yeah, and Chris the Killing Fields.
Brilliant. As long as Fields and what's the other bloke? As long as they're both there, Pendred, then it's all good. But I think Pendred's doing a food truck, isn't he?
Yeah, he's chopping up lettuce or something in a restaurant. I think.
Yeah.
He's opened up that like salad bar. So yeah, don't think you'll be getting much out of him.
Shame.
Should we go to the co-main?
Yeah, Ovince St. Preux, 24-14 versus Atomic Alonzo Menifield. Both former American football players. Favourite was Menifield in this fight. What are you saying about this fight? Let's have it. Enlighten me.
Menifield looked stiff.
He had a bod on him, didn't he? Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, he look, I don't know how people, how they get the bodies they get.
Well, these would have been from the pro American football stuff. He'd been doing a lot of weights back then, wouldn't he?
Exactly, yeah. And if that's sort of lingering, if I was him, I'd try and get his muscle mass down. It's bad for, not only is it bad for your cardio, but he's, probably unraised because, obviously he looked very short, and obviously some people like Cormier, it didn't really affect it, right? They're still successful, even at heavyweight, even though he's a short heavyweight. But it's carrying too much muscle mass for my liking. It's making his punches come up short. He's kind of swinging those punches. He's got no straight punches, probably because he's got, his chest boots are just too big to force out a nice, quick, snappy jab. It's not a good physique, in my opinion, for a fighter to be overly muscular. Now, obviously, people can say, "Oh, well, Tyson's not exactly, not exactly a wiry fella or what have you."
Was going to be my next question. Has there been any fighters that you, from memory, don't forget, he's just you picked a boxer there.
Yeah.
someone who just throws punches. Does make a difference. But yeah, is there any fighters that you can think of that are heavily muscular that you don't think is affected them, and they do a good job given that they carry so much muscle? Because if you try and name a few, so Woodley's at one, he's got loads of muscle, right? And he can't do it out.
Yeah, he can't. Yeah, he's cardio is the one thing. The main thing you would say about Woodley, where you go, I'm not sure about this fella. I'd say a couple of things, right? Especially because of the last couple of fights, mindset seems to be a little bit of a chink in the armor there. But the main thing I'd say is he's cardio, right? He's not a guy that like he can go hell for, like Benson Henderson. I don't think I've ever seen that guy take a sharp bit of breath or
agreed.
It doesn't matter if it's an intense fight. You don't have those fights where, say, if he has a real rough first round, you don't think, oh, he's going to pay for that later. He's not going to make it all 5 rounds or even 3 rounds. But Woodley, I mean, the guy's like I say, he's just wiping the sweat off his face and plodding around the cage after about 28 seconds. After he's
even on the ground, it's not like he throws a load of ground and pound or anything like that. It just, don't know, he just doesn't seem to. I guess it seems like he's more worried about the cardio than he must be. He's got to be a fit bloke. I mean, he looks amazing.
Oh, yeah,
I don't get it. Maybe it's just the wrong sort of muscle,
Yeah. Or maybe it's down to sort of conditioning and what kind of strength and conditioning programs they invest more in, sort of short explosive power sort of strength and conditioning, or long, say for example the Diaz brothers, right? They'll do all those Ironman and triathlons and stuff like that, right? So it means that they fight forever, but the payoff is they don't have explosive KO power or particularly fast or anything like that. The payoff is that they have that bit more of a long-term sort of fighting style. Woodley is short, powerful explosions and not much in between. And his body looks like that. You even had, say, Ngannou, right? He's someone who I'd say he's amazing physique, hasn't really affected him. If anything, it's helped him. And the other one is the guy who we could talk about in a minute, Alistair Overeem, right? He's got an amazing body, a little bit less good since USADA were a bit more prominent, but he's old.
He's old as well.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's brilliant, by the way. He's one guy that we'll get to him in a minute, but he's one guy that I've just liked more and more the longer his career's gone on.
He's amazing, but you can't skip over OSP and Menifield was not.
That's right, yeah.
Not finished.
Sorry,
but that's for muscular fighters. I couldn't think of many. Abel Trujillo, I know he's not in it, but it doesn't matter. He was another guy who had an amazing muscular physique, but no cardio, right? He was another one.
That's right, yeah.
So I can't think. Benson Henderson, you brought him up. He's very, very muscular, but he's lean muscle, right? He don't look the same. So I don't know.
You said that, but like there was that because there was the cut of there wasn't as many. A couple of fights got cut. They showed a knockout program before, and it showed the Donald Cerrone knockout of Alex Hernandez. Now that Alex Hernandez
head kick one, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that Alex Hernandez is absolutely stacked, but his cardio seems to be all right. He seems to fight at a reasonable intensity and this and that. So
Shoeface, that's another one.
Oh yeah, Shoeface. What's happened to him? Carlos Jr.
He's another one, real muscly. Pereira, really muscly, but still a lot leaner. I don't know. And he's a taller with it.
Okay.
But he's got no cardio either. Not much. He did was good in this.
One who seems to have cardio, and he's fighting soon. Paulo Costa. He's got the most incredible body in the world, but that Romero fight showed that he's got, he can fight at a pace. Because when all his fights, I've always thought to myself, he's lucky this don't go further, or he ain't got someone who can drag him into the later rounds or maybe grapple him a bit, because there's no way he can keep up this intensity. And then he fought Romero, and after about the first round, I was like, Costa's going to get blazed now. He's going to get sparked, in rounds 2 or 3.
Especially as he throws everything into his punches and all.
Yeah, and he just kept going. He took a lot of damage.
He's amazing.
He is, yeah. He's still going to get done by Adesanya, but
it's the wrong. It's a good style for Adesanya to have.
Correct. Yeah.
I agree that as good as Costa is, it's perfect for Adesanya. This counter-striking bloke coming in with looping powerful shots, long, lean bloke slipping out of the way, bang. I think he's going to do him as well.
He's going to pick him off, yeah. So, but with this one, that Alonzo Menifield, he was throwing a strike and he was switching stances as he threw a strike, wasn't he? So he was, I can't remember whether it was left or right, but he was basically switching from orthodox to southpaw, and that's when he got banged out. Looked pretty cumbersome, didn't look great. He needs to shift some muscle mass big time. If you're going to be one of those guys, then you need to be a real sort of power grinding wrestler, so to speak. So say Chad Mendes, he was a real muscular guy, wasn't he? But he had great cardio. He had really good cardio, right?
Yeah, really good roids and all.
Well, there's that to say for it. But he, as far as that's what he needs to do. I hate that OSP celebration, as I know you do.
Can't stand it.
It really rubs me up the wrong way. Don't know why,
but it was a good performance by him. That I've warmed to OSP just from that fight alone. I kind of went good. When he won, I went good for you that you won that. I felt good for him. Not that he cares what I think, but he's not someone that I'm actually into. OSP's on the card, so what? He ain't even good. But I thought it was a good performance by him, and the fight was actually all right. The Menifield bloke, I don't know what was wrong with him. He spent 2 rounds just moving backwards and circling around and doing nothing. And when he finally did do something and come forward, maybe this is why he did nothing, he got countered with a left hook when he was coming in. But I quite enjoyed the fight, and I thought OSP did, a good job. I can see why the coach was excited and proud of him and all that, because even though, he's been fighting ages, Menifield was the favourite, it was good. It was a good win for him. Good kicks, kept him at bay. I mean, he dug him in the guts loads with front kicks, and they were good, those front kicks. He was really digging them in. It was a good bit of OSP. I liked him. I thought he was good in this fight. He's still open. He's still going to get done by loads of other people. But honestly, it was a good performance by him, that.
Yeah, I always find OSP a little bit flat-footed.
Yeah, agreed.
And but I was I warmed to him, so I liked this performance, and I thought the problem with that Menifield, I mean, if you're going to be that shorter guy, you kind of got to, not always obviously, but when you're giving up that much of a reach disadvantage, it helps if you dictate the range. So if you can sort of come forward, a la Tyson, someone like that, someone who can dictate the range a bit. If you want to take a bit of a breather, step out of range, and then when you want to attack, you sort of, creep your way in or you explode in. But he was on the outskirts a lot, around the outskirts of the cage. And the problem with that is it leaves him no way to sort of retreat and disengage or dictate the range. And it just meant that OSP, who had obviously that big range advantage, could kind of just keep it away of range he wanted, right? Because he did his back up against the cage, so he couldn't retreat any further or go anywhere. So OSP was like, well, I've got much longer arms than you and longer legs. I'll just keep prodding you, and then when you do explode and try and close the distance, I've got all this cage to back up into, right? I've still got half the cage to retreat into. So if I was that Menifield, he did a bit at the start. He needed to be on the front foot a lot more. But yeah, I mean, the main thing for me, if I was his coach, is be like, listen, you need to shift some of this muscle, because this ain't a bodybuilding contest, and it's going to slow you up. It's going to stiffen you up. It means that you're throwing looping shots. It's going to compromise, as much as counterintuitive as it might seem to people. It's not going to help your power.
Yeah.
Because your power, to get those limbs moving, it takes a lot more energy, a lot more explosive power. So it's not going to help, your actual knockout power. It's just everything is wrong with that physique. He needs to trim that down, in my opinion, because it's not working for him. If he was a grinding wrestler, shoving OSP against the cage and using his power to pick him up and slam him on the floor, I'd go different story. But he wasn't doing that. He was swinging hooks. He's short, he's stumpy, swinging hooks at light heavyweight. It's not going to work. So
yeah, good win that for St. Preux. Underdog comes through and shows everyone what it's all about, which I like. The experience showed through. An young up-and-comer guy came in there and got done. St. Preux wins by KO in round 2. It was impressive. It was good.
It's surprising he was the underdog as well. With much more experience and stuff like that.
I know, but he's been that good as he. He has actually had a lot of wins, to be fair to him, but
he's fought and beat much better people. I mean, look at the people he's fought. I mean, I can't believe he was the underdog. I mean, he's fought people. I mean, that Ben Rothwell at heavyweight was a
No, forget that.
that was a mistake. You know, he's fought people like Reyes, Dominic Reyes. You know, Corey Anderson, Uzdemir. You know, Manoa.
Yeah, he's
You know,
all right.
but it doesn't matter. He's still been in with a lot of those people, and has been competitive with a lot of them. So,
all right. Well, right. Enough's enough on bloody OSP.
yeah.
We're on to the main event, like we agreed. Short card. We don't make it sound short, though, do we?
No.
Right. So, main event. Alistair Overeem. Nicknames: the Demolition Man. Quite a good one.
Yep, that's a good nickname. I don't know why judging nicknames has become our main feature, but yeah.
No, I like it. I never used to be that bothered, but it's like, no, let's see if there's good ones. Then there's good ones. Versus Augusto Sakai. So, Overeem, he's ranked 6. Was before this fight. I don't know what he's ranked now. So he's ranked 6 against a ranked 9. You know, the young up and coming guy. Buckets loads more experience. 46-18 and 1 against 15-1-1. So Overeem, 40 years old. This was his 66th MMA fight and his 93rd fight in total, including all his fights, all his kickboxing fights as well. So 93 fights. This was his 93rd fight. I mean, that's saying something, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
When 66 of them are in MMA. Normally you hear about people with big fight numbers like that. It's either Muay Thai or kickboxing, and they do fight regular, those guys. You know, they've got hundreds of fights. But like I said, 66 of them are MMA. So I guess that's what happens. When you've been doing it so long, I think you said 23 years or something, so he debuted in 1999. So brilliant to have him here. He's amazing. What did you think of this fight?
Well, I've become a really big Overeem fan when I wasn't particularly a big Overeem fan before. But, you know, now I'm like, he's the guy I want to be heavyweight champ. He's the guy I want to rule the heavyweight division for ages, as unlikely as that is. But after a couple of rounds, I was getting a little bit worried. Now, when he was backing up and he was, you know, putting the earmuffs on, as it's called, you know, was putting his gloves up around his sort of temples and covering his head and stuff. And his coach did actually warn him in between rounds, just be careful with that he doesn't start, you know, because he is bringing strikes up through the middle as well. But I was watching that and I was thinking, I know what you're doing. You're kind of lulling this guy in. You're also probably making him empty the gas tank a little bit, et cetera, et cetera. And ultimately it worked. But until he got that takedown in round 3, which secured in round 3, he was probably losing round 3 as well. And it was getting to the point where it was like, well, you're more than likely going to be 3 rounds down here, which means you're going to need a knockout to win. So I was getting a little bit worried.
I gave him round 1, but yeah, fair enough.
So did I, but it seemed to be general opinion from all the tweets
you said
on the screen and the commentary and stuff that most people went for Sakai, which I was fine with, by the way, because it was a close round.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I started getting worried because I thought, you know, you're going to leave yourself too much to do. Now, he did get that takedown. And once he got that takedown, you know, he'd done some real damage. And at that point, I thought, if someone asked me if I was a betting man after the end of round 3, say 2 minutes into round 3, I'd have gone, I think Overeem's going to lose this. By the end of round 3, I was like, Overeem's definitely going to win. And he was brilliant because he went out there. If you like, he saw the blueprint. Just take this guy down, and he can't really deal with my punches on the floor. That's what he did. And good stoppage from Dean. Probably could have got in there maybe a strike or 2 earlier. But it was one of those fights where I think Sakai to jump up in quality of opponent. And I thought he acquitted himself quite well. It's better than I thought he was going to do.
Oh, I agree. I thought he was actually all right.
Yeah.
I think quite good.
I thought his physique looked better than I've seen it before as well.
Nah, I don't know, mate. It tells you everything when they wear a T-shirt at the weigh-ins.
Yeah, I know, but he didn't wear a T-shirt in the cage, and you know, obviously he's still not going to be, you know, Mr. Universe competitions. But his physique looked. I've seen it before, which to me shows he's taking it serious, which is a good sign, especially at heavyweight. And but yeah, sorry, you can't stop the Demolition Man. He's brilliant. And let's hope he wins it. And it don't matter that it comes up that he's from Holland or the Netherlands or whatever. He ain't. He's British. You know what I mean? And that's the end of it.
Yeah, of
No one can
course.
take it away from us. He's brilliant. Every time I watch him fight, I've got the you doing that impression of I felt the tap from the Miocic fight. He's just brilliant. The chats are brilliant. You know, at the end, sticking the fist up.
He's the
Camera.
best.
I was just like, I really, really, really like this guy. I'd really like him to become champ, but I can't see him beating it. You know that move he was doing of putting those earmuffs on against the cage? That was working against Sakai because I don't think he's a particularly concussive one-punch KO artist. But I don't think he could get away with that against Derek Lewis. Now, obviously, Derek Lewis only got about 3 punches around in him, but I don't think he could get away with that against a Derek Lewis, a Rosenstruik, or an Ngannou, or any of those guys. So I'd hope that's not sort of like well, obviously he's been beaten by Rosenstruik and Ngannou, right? So that proves that it don't work.
Yeah.
But yes, I hope that's not like a new. I've seen him do it before, but I hope that's not a new thing that he's going to start employing in all his fights. But when you look at it, it's no one else really for him to fight other than those top guys. And he's been beaten by most of those top guys. He's done everyone behind him as well. So what do you kind of do with Overeem? What would you do with him?
Be his mate.
Yeah, I know you're going to be his mate. I'm sure Dana is his mate. But outside of being his mate, what would you do for him next fight-wise? He's lost to Derek Lewis, hasn't he? And Rosenstruik. Is that right? He's lost to Ngannou.
He lost, but he did. Yeah, but you could say he didn't lose to Rosenstruik, right?
Yeah, it was like with 4 seconds to go. Yeah, that's right.
And he was getting up, so you could say he didn't lose. So you could do that. You could do a rematch to prove that he didn't lose because Rosenstruik's just won. So you could do that.
Or you could do a Derek Lewis. He hasn't fought Lewis, I don't believe, anyway.
Yeah. Everyone has to do Lewis, don't they, to get anywhere? That's the truth. What about that other big lanky bloke with the eagle on his back, the wings on his back? Volkov.
Yeah, Alexander Volkov. I don't think he's fought Volkov. Has he
done him?
Is he going to want to fight someone below him in the rankings? I know he just has, but that's two people he's.
Yeah, but that was a good one to fight the Sakai because it's the young, up and coming, fresh meat or whatever. That was the right one to take, I think. Look, I am going to ask you about the earmuffs. Just want to know: is it a good idea to get to your back, up against the cage, and just defending like that? And he was offering no threat of countering. Sometimes people do defense like that, but not for very long, and they'll swing out a big wild hook as if to say, like, if you don't get off, you could get knocked out. And it does happen. Arlovsky, Travis Brown.
Didn't he, recently?
Does happen, right?
Yeah.
You have to let the person know it's about getting their respect, right? So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with defense. We like defense. It's great. But every time he did it, he offered nothing in return, no fire back. And I think that's a bad thing, really. I think if Sakai was a bit more experienced, he could have beat him up from doing that. He had a couple of good uppercuts that, like you say, went through the middle. And he had one good elbow that went down and through the middle of the gloves. But other than that, he didn't capitalize on that much. I mean, is that a good idea? Just sitting against the cage and taking all that and offering... I would have thought you got to offer a threat back. Obviously, the second that he takes the earmuff off, he's open, right? I guess that's why he stays shelled up. I mean, what is that idea? I mean, do you think it's a good idea? What would you be telling him if you were his coach? Because his coach would be listening. You know that.
Oh, of course, yeah. Well, I mean, I speak to him when I'm in the gym, but the thing is there's a couple of things, right? You can use it. A lot of the time it's done by when somebody's, say, been tagged and they're using it as the most effective sort of defense mechanism, right? You just cover up and, even though you're sort of, if you're like a sort of a little bit of a stationary target for someone to hit, you're at least well padded and protected, right? You've got your elbows tucked in, you've got your gloves sort of, covering your temples, etc., etc. But I think that Overeem's done it a couple of times before and actually come a cropper. Now, I'd have to go back and watch all these old fights, but I'm pretty sure I've seen him do that move before and get wobbled from it or get finished by it up against that cage. And the other thing is, a lot of the time, what it can be is, so you can, say, work on natural reactions. So say, for example, if somebody throws a left hook and you catch a right glove, you can then sort of train your body to throw a natural sort of, say, counter left hook, right uppercut or something like that. It's almost like a natural trigger that when you feel this here, like you say, you offer some kind of comeback.
Yes, yeah, like you say, it's a trigger point to make you react and go boom, boom, and do something back. Yeah.
If I feel, say, a body shot and I catch it on my left elbow, my natural response will be a left uppercut because their right hand is now away from their chin because they've used it to smack into my left elbow, and I'll throw a left uppercut, lift the head up, and maybe throw a left hook or something like that. But like I say, he wasn't doing anything like that. He was just
didn't do nothing, no countering.
He was using rope-a-dope. He was using that sort of, I'm making out like I'm tired or you've got me hurt. You're going to unload loads of punches, empty your gas tank, and then I'll finish you late on, a little bit like George Foreman, Muhammad Ali. And it worked because he did, right? Round 4, round 5, he got the stoppage. But I just like
because of that, or because he took him to the ground and punched him in the face.
It's obviously because he took him to the ground and punched him in the face, mostly.
I just didn't see.
He would have secured those takedowns if the guy wasn't maybe fatigued from throwing those punches that had little to no effect. My worry is if you do that, someone against, say, someone like Ngannou or Rosenstrike, they've got the power that those little gloves, those little 4-ounce gloves, are not going to absorb enough of the power to not make those punches damaging. And the punches he was probably taking against Sakai, who's not a big hitter, probably wouldn't be able to absorb them from an Ngannou or a Rosenstrike or even a Derek Lewis or what have you. So
yeah, I'm just thinking about the game plan going forward. Whether that's a good idea, because if there's no threat coming back, then each time that happens against the fence, you can do whatever you like. That's Sakai. Had he had anything about him, he should have grabbed the back of his knees and dragged Overeem to the ground. Why not? Even if he walked back off, just score points. Could have done something with it, and he didn't.
That maybe I would say that you could sucker them in with that, or let them empty the gas tank a bit. But if he was trying that, or if he does try that against people like Ngannou and stuff like that, it's a bad move. So maybe he'll just use it in this fight. Like I said, I've seen him use it in other fights before. But I'm pretty sure that it's not worked out for him in other fights before. We saw it recently, didn't we? With I think it was Kasangane versus Patolo. Patolo was absorbing those shots on the cage as well, and he'd done a good job of absorbing them. But yeah, it's not something I particularly like seeing Overeem do, just because in the past he's looked a little bit fragile and he's looked a little bit, it
just seems dangerous. I like the confidence. I appreciate the confidence and the experience in going, it's all good. I can take this. I know what to do when these things happen. So I appreciate the confidence, but it's pretty nerve-wracking to watch. You're like, oh my God, what are you doing? You're going to get done here, But he could have been losing that fight, but he sorted it, right? And DC was having a dig at his takedown skills, saying they weren't, technically correct and everything, but what did he need to do? I liked that takedown. Literally sitting down and rolling. I mean, it was an amazing move. I thought it was good.
Yeah, and he used it again and it worked again.
Yeah, doing the exact same move. That was brilliant. It's just, I'm just the exact same thing.
Because it would have been so frustrating if rounds 4 and 5 went like rounds 1 and 2. When he saw in round 3 how,
that's what happens in a lot of fights, right? And you think to yourself, well, you've just seen what worked and what you can do, and now you're not doing it. Whereas Overeem didn't. He went, that worked. Who knows if I'm winning or not? I'll just do the same thing again. I thought it was good. Good performance. Overeem.
I've not seen him get wobbled in as well, which was nice, because most fights I watch his fights a little bit with my hands in front of my eyes, because I'm always like, oh, any second now he's going to get, he's going to get blasted out, because he's been blasted out in spectacular fashion quite a few times, hasn't he? Yeah. So yeah, it was nice. It was nice to see. It was one where I could relax a little bit more. How do you think if I just read out to you now, just a win or lose for Overeem? Derek Lewis.
Win.
Rosenstrike.
Win.
Ooh. Blades.
Win.
Ngannou.
Win.
Okay, I mean, so you think he'd avenge all those losses because he's obviously lost to Blades, Ngannou, and
Yeah,
Rosenstrike.
he's better than all of them.
And Miocic, he's obviously lost to Miocic as well, but he beat Miocic, right? He made Miocic, but the ref missed it. But
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I saw the tap. Yeah, he did do him, yeah. But I don't know whether he'd do Miocic, but he could. Let's put it that way. He's capable.
I think he'd have a better chance beating Miocic than Rosenstrike or funnily enough. But he showed some good sportsmanship in that fight as well. Over him, a couple of times where he kicked the cup and stuff, and he stopped and held his hand out. The referee and he's just the best.
He is.
I watched that fight. I can't. I hope Venom do come in and make some good t-shirts and stuff. So I watched that fight and went, you know what? I think I want the Overeem t-shirt.
Same.
How about that?
There's absolutely no doubt about it that I am an Alistair Overeem fan, and that's it. He's amazing. Look, everything I like about him. When he came out, he walked out, just a normal walk. He done a bit of a Frank Mir. He just walked out. There weren't really any reaction on his face. And I don't know if you noticed, but when he got in the cage, he did a big fist in the air and circled the cage as if there was a crowd there. Like, yep, that's it. I'm here. And nothing. Obviously, there's no crowd. But that's what he does. And he still did it. And I loved it. And what about the winning celebration or lack of? It's just amazing, man. He wins, gets up. Well, that's what I came here to do is win the fight. And I've won the fight. And what more am I supposed to do? That's what it's like. He just gets up and goes, well, yeah, that's it. Done it. What do you want? Amazing. Really, I love that as well when people don't go nuts after winning. I mean, it was brilliant. He just got up and walked off, and then went straight to the guy, make sure he's all right. He's one of the greats. There's no doubt about it. He really is. Brilliant career. I'm not going to go through all the stuff that he's done, the Dream and Strikeforce and all that. Everyone does all that. He's brilliant, and that's it. Really, really, really brilliant bloke. And even the chats are amazing. All laid back and cool and calm. When he gets, people go, oh, you've just got done by Rosenstrike. You got your lips smashed off and all that. Who goes in and has fights after that? Forget it. And then from an old fella, he's probably made quite a bit of money out of it. No, forget it. Still turning up. You could see the scar there. Still turn up. He takes it in his stride. He knows, well, I have fights, right? Like when he got, who's the bloke who done that absolutely massive, was it Ngannou that uppercutted him into oblivion?
Yeah.
Okay, that fight, right? You'd expect most people to go, look at Stan. He couldn't handle axe murdering, right?
Yeah.
You expect a lot of people to go, just forget it. The interview after that, he was all like, yeah, it looked devastating. I get it. I can understand how it looks on TV, vicious and all that. But I do know that things like this could happen. So it's all good. And you've seen it. He's still turning up, right? He's 40. He's brilliant. And that is all there is to it.
I really hope he somehow, whether it be a short notice replacement or whatever, because I think it's
like a Bizzers comes in and just gets it.
Yeah, because I think it's difficult to sort of justify a title shot in the near future when you've got, say, Ngannou, Blades, Rosenstrike have all beaten him ahead of him.
Yeah, I saw.
It's difficult to justify, but I really hope that some sort of opportunity comes up and he wins. That would be, and we said the other week that it's a bit, Cormier, if he beat Miocic, he still was going to retire or what have you. And
but the belt been.
Yeah, I think I'd like it from Overeem if he won that belt and then went, I've done what I came to do.
It's different.
And
it's different now.
I've had enough now. My lip's still hurting. I'd be like, brilliant. Won the title and then, rode off into the sunset. And by the way, he's right. That Denver looked well nice on those videos.
Who's Denver?
Yeah, where he's training at Elevation, Denver, Colorado.
Oh, the place, yeah.
Well nice. I mean, I'm sure
better than Perillo's.
I'm sure it's got some horrible dumps and dives there as well, but the bits where he was walking around, they look really nice.
He's Qual. He's going to be in the Qual bit, don't forget.
It just looked better than, Jackson Winklejohn, let's put it like that. Something
Definitely.
Big
but not as good as Perillo's.
No, of course not.
So I've got one more thing to run through quickly.
Well,
just because it was on the broadcast, for the sake that it was on the broadcast. The quick, small list of upcoming events and just what you think. And I'm going to say what you think, no details. I know you're a details man, but we've been going long enough.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of it being on a broadcast, I'll bring it up of the upcoming events. Some people might find it interesting. Oh, yeah, what's coming up next? What we're going to chat about next? And a quick whether you're excited about it or not, right? So the next event coming up.
Then Watson Hill 9, excited.
Hold on, just hang on. All right. So the next one is the 12th of September. It's Michel Waterson versus Angela Hill. Excited or not excited?
No, I don't. I'm not. I think the fight I'm looking forward to. Okay, there's two fights that
Hang on, you can't do this yet. This is not the game.
I'm not going to. I'm just going to say quickly. Couple of fights.
We're ruining the game.
Ed Herman versus Mike Rodriguez.
Brilliant.
And Matt Danger Schnell, he's on that card as well. I'm young. Those fights I'm looking forward to. Other than that, I'm not. But as we said before, you never know until you see a card how good it's going to be. So obviously,
brilliant that you brought up Ed Shortfuse. I didn't know he was on. I haven't looked who's on the card. Great, but let's just go. Never mind the card. Let's just go with the main event. They're the ones that draw you in, right? That's why they're the main event. So Waterson Hill.
If you're saying on a scale of 1 to 10, looking forward to it, I'd say that's probably 2.
Oh, and 10's looking forward to it, and
10 out of 10 is McGregor versus Brock Lesnar. Next.
Yeah, agreed. The next event after that is 19th of September. Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
You know, an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10, something like that.
Definitely. Because of Colby, right?
Well, yeah, because obviously there's a little bit of beef between those guys. Colby has made himself resting, at least. And
he's pretty good, right?
I'm interested to see how Woodley performs after how he's performed the last couple of times. I am actually interested in that.
Yeah, well, whether he's got the fire back and he weren't really in there before, same chat.
I don't believe he has, but I am interested to see how he gets on.
Well, let's put it this way: Colby won't do what a lot of people did when Tyron was winning. He won't just stay back. He seems to go in.
That's right, yeah.
And have a good smash up. So he's good. And then after that is the 26th of September. So you've got the 12th, 19th, and then the 26th is Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa.
Yeah, look forward to that. It's another sort of 9 out of 10, that one.
Yeah, really good one, that, isn't it? So
just to bring it back down to earth.
Yeah.
Right? Because obviously you got 2 out of 10 and you got 2 9s out of 10s, roughly. Then to really just crush his spirit after that Adesanya Costa card, it's Holly Holm versus Irene Aldana. So we're back down to 2 out of 10. So can't have it all your own way, though, can you?
No, you can't. I suppose you've got to take you take the rough with the smooth.
Yeah. And we've got a rough, smooth, rough ahead of us.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. So that's it for this one. That was UFC Fight Night. Alistair Overeem versus Augusto Sakai post-fight chat. Anything you need to add before we go?
No, other than, Dana needs to give Overeem the next title shot. That's the end of it.
He's already said that, he's just got to keep winning fights. That was before he actually won.
Bloody hell, talk about stating the obvious.
I know, but I don't know. He said he's just got to keep beating these young up-and-comers. I don't know if there is any young up-and-comers. But anyway, we don't start, because if we start, we're going to start and go, is there any young up-and-comers? And then we'll start chatting again.
Yeah.
So we better not. We'll leave it there. Like and subscribe if you can. And we'll see you on the next one. And I'll see you on the next one and all. I'll probably see you before that, but see you in the next chat. I'll see you later.
Yep, all right, nice one, mate. Take care. See you later.
Yeah, nice one.